Talk Radio, where every day is a new day. You're listening to Consulting to Win with your host, Ralph White.
Good morning. This is Ralph White, and we're here with Consulting to Win Radio and on New Day Talk Radio. And I have with me this morning Leanne Farmer, my faithful partner in this project.
Good morning, Ralph.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Great, huh? Well, since our topic today is going to be about vacations and having fun, that's a little preview as to what we're going to be talking about. And you're getting ready to go on vacations tomorrow.
I am.
You excited about that?
I am. I have a lot of happy anticipation and a lot of anxiety as well.
Well, that's a good part of the show for today. So that's exactly what we want to be talking about. So we're going to be looking at that and how you fit it all in as a business owner and how you make it all work. So Consulting to Win is committed to supporting our clients and coaching people in producing more results, in working with them, in going beyond what's predictable, going beyond what they can see for themselves, and helping them, have that, extra advantage of getting more into their day and getting more accomplished, getting bigger results to occur.
Right, and the purpose of this show is to kind of give you a bird's eye view, if you will, of what it's like to actually work with a business coach and help you try to experience over the radio how that might have an impact in your life and your business.
Right, and we definitely welcome your calls. The call-in number is 310-715-6709. That's 310-715-6709. So we have things we know we're going to talk about, but we're always invite you into the conversation. It's always a privilege and a pleasure to speak with you and address your particular needs in your business, because that's what we do as business coaches. We look into what you're up to and look at how we can stretch it or support you in getting beyond whatever the obstacles are. The advantages of working with a coach, every great performer, every great athlete has a coach. If you're on a team, you have a coach. And the purpose of working with a coach is to get that extra result.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, because we really try to help people design the future that they really want for their business and their life, and then kind of look back from what that looks like and coach them through what needs to happen to make that future a reality.
Right. We really partner with our clients in what their commitments are. I have one of the clients that we've worked with for 10, 15 years, and she actually says that I'm the least expensive employee that she has on staff. I'm the most committed to getting the results done. And I don't stand there when they have an increase in profits asking for my percentage.
Right.
So she considers me to be a very valuable asset, and our firm to be an asset to the company. And that's really what we're up to, what we're committed to doing. And
we want to share that expertise with you all today on the radio.
Very good. So, and again, the call-in number is 310-715-6709. And our topic today is, we've been talking about managing time, and we've been talking about, our program, the Whole Life Matrix, which is the model that we use to work with our clients to make all aspects of life fit into their schedule, fit into their life. So we call it business/life, business life. I find that many people go into business with the idea that I'll have more free time, I'll make more money, and I'll spend more time with my family. And then they end up in a business where they're actually working for less money than they could make in the marketplace, working more hours, and sometimes forget what the names of their kids are because they haven't seen them for such a long time.
Right. And I was talking about, leaving tomorrow on vacation and that it's a cross between anticipation and anxiety. I think the biggest thing we see especially with business owners, is just they look at a vacation as a complete impossibility, that the world will fall apart if they walk away from that business for even a couple of days.
Right.
So I think what we want to try to deal with today is how to make that anxiety go away,
Right.
and the importance of taking that time off. We'll talk about that a little bit. And just how you can plan and structure your business so that it will run while you're not there.
Now, two great words, plan and structure. And I'd stick in there also strategy. You know, it's like, rather than letting the circumstances, the day-to-day chaos, the interruptions, I need your attention right now, run your business. And I've done that myself. I was in my own business, before I became a consultant in the manufacturing business for 38 years. So I know what it's like to go from no money, no experience, no knowledge of what you need to do, up to growing the business, and becoming a very substantial corporation and managing a lot of people. But it's a challenge to look at, what is your strategy for getting all of that into the system and making all of that happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you were just going to start from the standpoint of, let's say you're a small business, let's say you've got 10 employees and you make a product, you have a little production line, and you want to take a week vacation and you're the boss. Where would you start in terms of planning to be away for a week?
Well, I'd have my vacation be sort of like Christmas. Christmas is coming in December. Mm-hmm. You don't, I'm always amazed when clients come along and it's like, just after Thanksgiving, there's like, oh my gosh, I haven't figured out what I'm doing for the holidays or what days we're going to be closed or what my plan is. And I'm like, my response is Christmas a surprise for you this year? I mean, did you think they had stuck it in a new
Moved
month?
It back a month.
Right. Yeah, so I would have vacation be something that is not like a last-minute thought. I would have it like, as soon as I get back from this year's vacation, I start my planning for next year. I start immediately putting it into my calendar.
Wow.
So they just like, because I need something that I'm looking forward to. I want to know that I have it handled.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not something that I'm thinking about or want to have. How I know that I'm going to have something is that I schedule it in time.
Right. So the first step would be to plan out far enough that you've got a little time to prepare.
Right. So if I know a year in advance that I'm going to Ecuador in August or September of this year, then I have ample time to set up, my staff. I set up my clients. I can start planning for that. And I schedule time in my calendar as to when I'm going to do that planning.
Uh-huh.
So it's not like, oh my gosh, now my vacation's tomorrow and I need to tell my clients that I'm going to be out of the country for a couple of weeks or whatever the schedule is. So if the further out you're looking in your business, the bigger the more results you're going to have.
Right. Well, I think probably the challenge for a lot of business owners is they have a lot of the information in their head, as you mentioned,
mm-hmm.
how things run, what the deadlines are, who the key clients are, etc. So obviously, if they're going to be away, they need to be selecting a backup person.
Mm-hmm.
And how do they go about training that person to handle things for them?
Actually, I'd back up and I'd start from, I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks, and I like to go beyond what you're really going to do. So let's just say that if your dream is to have a 2-week vacation. I mean, I've had clients when they start to work with us. I remember a lady in the past that her dream was to get 6 to 7 hours sleep at night.
I know that dream. I share that dream.
Her challenge was she had 2 businesses, one that she loved. I mean, she just loved this business, and the other one that she liked it, but she didn't love it. And she was running 2 businesses and actually getting about 2 to 3 hours a night sleep. Mm. And when we got into the analysis of it, when we really is working with her as a coach, we dug down into the details of it. We found that this business that she loved wasn't making any money. Mm-hmm. And the business that she liked was making a lot of money, only she was taking it out of that business and putting it into the other one. And, as the net result, she didn't have any money, and she was working long hours. And she says, I think there's a problem here. And I said, definitely. So when I worked with her and looking at the whole situation, I made my coaching was, let go of the business that you love, turn it into the hobby that it really is, because if a business is not making money, if it's not putting, the purpose of business is to make money now and in the future.
Right.
That's your purpose. That's what business is. Business is a game to make money. And if you're not making money, you're not winning the game. So if that's the purpose and that's the game, and you look at it and it's not working, my coaching was let go of that business, focus your attention on the other business where she was making a lot of money, and actually set it up to where she could, her dream was to buy a sailboat and sail around the world. And so she, and which she couldn't, that was just a dream. It was a fantasy because she couldn't get there because she was busy running these two businesses that the net result was she wasn't making any money. And
so get rid of the one business, and then was
right.
she able to create the time to follow her dream?
Well, she eliminated about 6 hours, 7 hours a day worth of work, which she translated into some sleep, which actually made the other business seem a little more enjoyable. She found that she did like making money, and she was able to buy the boat. So it's really, it's looking further out. And in the day-to-day circumstances and looking at what she was doing on a day, this lady was working extremely hard, very committed, very, very tenacious, but wasn't making progress towards her intentions, towards her objectives. And I mean, it was a difficult challenge for her to let go of this business that she loved, which really was a hobby she had elevated into a store,
right,
into a business.
Well, for the guy that has a small business that he knows he's going to keep that business, but he just can't figure out how to get out of there for a couple of days, how would you start out with him?
Well, I'd look at, so I'd do the reverse engineering process that I like to apply.
Yeah, you mentioned that last week.
Right. So I would step into, I'm taking a week off, okay? And then I would immediately rather than fight all of the things that your mind says, oh my God, you can't do that because, I'd actually write those becauses down. Because that actually becomes can be projects. If I can't take a week off because I don't have anybody to sign payroll checks, I can't take a week off because no one else can take care of this major client, and and they only want to talk to me, and I can't take it off because we are not making a profit, or I'm the production person, and we're barely making money. And if I'm gone for a week, then it won't work.
Right.
Actually, it's interesting. I was just thinking about this. I'm as well as a business consultant in my weekends. I'm an artist, and that's
Indeed you are.
Yes, thank you. And I took that up about 5 years ago. And someone's, actually Bonnie, one of the consultants on staff, sent me this email saying, it was about Bravo is doing a situation reality show,
shows,
for an artist, and I looked at it and it says, well, you have to be available for 3 to 5 weeks of time, and my first reaction was, I can't do that because I don't have that time,
right?
And so it was. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, so what did you do?
Well, at this time, I decided to put that on the list of things I'm not doing because it's not going to fit. The current time schedule is not going to fit. But they're going to do the show again. If the show works, it's going to do it again. So I would look into, how do I design that? I look at my limitations. It's like, who could take care of my coaching clients? Look at the amount of income that would cost me. How do I have that be gone for 5 weeks, not have the income for the company go down? How to actually plan it out, strategize it, build a model. I like building models to where you can actually take a look at your business, build the model, look at, if we do this and this and this, what would be the end result, and then when you can see a model that has the the possibility of giving you the result that you're after, then you're on your way towards producing that result. If you can't build a model, then there's no sense in starting the project and working hard, thinking somehow someday I'm going to get there.
Right. And your business coach, a lot of what we do is to try to provide that structure, give ideas and suggestions that you may not have considered about how to put those structures in place so that you actually can take a vacation, make a profit, do all the things you want your business to do.
Right.
I think a lot of another part of the anxiety revolves around employees and what's going to be happening at the shop when I'm not there. When the cat's away, the mice are going to play.
Right.
So how do you plan for that?
Well, I like job descriptions for employees which has measurements of performance that are specific and measurable. Your job is to make, you're a salesperson, your job is to make 100 introductory calls a week. It's to make X amount of dollars worth of sales per week. It's to make these contacts with existing accounts. In other words, you define the position, and then you have measurements for that position. And if you put that into effect, you can actually see those measurements on an email. You can see those, this idea, actually I started this thinking back in the days of a fax machine, and I believe we still have fax machines some places, but I called it the Bahamas Project. And it's like design your business to where if you're sitting in the Bahamas and you get one fax a day, and that fax has all of the information that you want, to know about your business. That's all the information you get on one page. What would you want on that page? Start identifying that information and putting it into what we call a flash report, which is like a picture of your business on that day. So on that day, sales are this, income is this, money in the bank is this, account receivables, accounts payables. You start identifying those things that you would want to know about your business on that report.
Okay.
You start putting that system in place. It's like being a mother of a teenager. It's like if you call home, you want to know, are you at home? Is there anybody else there with you? I mean, Leanne, you could.
Yes, I can speak to that.
You could, what are the things that you'd want to know? If you weren't going to be there for a week, that you'd want to know about your teenagers.
Yeah, I've found this, as a matter of fact, because it's summertime and my kids are at home, and things that you take for granted, that you think they're going to know, not so much how to do, but just to do them in general, because I've asked them to do these things every day. Well, it's amazing to me how much helpful it is if I would write down every single day, here's what I want you to accomplish while I'm not here. Even though it's the same list from yesterday, sometimes there's not the knowledge there that just because I asked you to do it yesterday, I want you to do it today.
Right.
So I've found that I need to be very specific, and then they are brilliant at getting done what I want them to do, but I do need them. I find myself having to be very specific about even just, water the plants. Mm-hmm. Even though you're expected to do that every day, I guess you need me to remind you to do it. So. Well,
actually, that fits into our model on managing time. That's the radar screen. It's like making sure that what's on their radar screen is what you want. The plants are watered. The dog actually has water, and gets fed. The front door is locked when you leave. As a business owner, we take these things for granted. Like everybody knows what they're supposed to do, and everybody just goes and does it. Well, that's absurd.
Yeah, you've got to be really specific with your employees,
right?
And it comes into the job descriptions and the measurements of performance. When I get back, I'm going to be looking at the reports to see how many widgets we made while I was gone, how many sales calls got made, and I've told you it's in writing what the expectations are, what your job description is, and there's just no reason that this can't happen while I'm not here.
Right. So then what you're saying, the mice will play. I don't care if they play. All I care is if they have produced the result that we're committed to producing. But and I find that oftentimes it's not that business owners and clients don't know the answer. The answer is sort of like just below the surface in their mind. They'll like, oh gosh, I don't know how to do that, or I'm not good with numbers, or I'm not good at setting up systems. And the reality is, if you ask them some questions, if you get below that surface response, that sort of the automatic response of I don't understand or I don't know, the next layer down, sort of like in a layer cake, is where the good frosting is. The next layer down is, the access to what it is they want. And when you can get the owner and or a manager to define what it is they want, and then put in place a system to measure for that, the employee is thrilled because now they know what they have to do in order to win the game.
Right. And I think it causes a shift in the manager as well, because it starts to become something that they think might actually happen instead of being a fantasy out there.
Exactly.
It becomes a possibility, which is what we're all about at Possibilities Unlimited. I want to remind our listeners, we sure do welcome your calls. We know everybody's thinking about vacations in the summertime. We'd love to hear what your maybe particular challenges are in getting away from the office. The number here is 310-715-6709. And I also would love it if you would check us out on the web. Our website is www.consultingtowin. That's consulting, the number 2win.com. We're going to talk a little bit today about having fun and what that looks like.
Right.
Because it's all too easy to forget about why having fun is important.
Well, it's really the word, fun, you could consider it to be like recreation. Recreation is actually, recreating, or recreate and recreate is spelled the same. By giving yourself some downtime, some time to decompress, some time to let go of all of the energy that gets wound up in the day-to-day practices of business. You're constantly under the pressures of, I've got to go here, do this, make this sale, manage this. If you don't give yourself that time, if you don't take time off, it's going to impact your health. It's going to have a major impact in that arena. And two, it's going to impact your productivity and your creativity. So the having fun, like for myself, is my art. I practice and paint on Saturdays and Sundays. I use that time. I have no expectations. It goes back into what we were talking about on the do nothing days, where you actually schedule nothing to do on that day. I
had one of those last Saturday.
Oh, really? How did it go for you?
It was wonderful, but I had to do exactly what you said. I was planning for that day for about 2 weeks in advance, and let myself know that it was okay to just have that day.
Right.
I got as much done as I could on my in my calendar ahead of time.
Right.
And I was quite tempted to do things do some emails and do things on that day, but I did not, and I'm so glad.
Wow. It gives you an opportunity to get refreshed. It gives you an opportunity which will give you a different perspective. I've seen with business owners that if, in fact, you get them to take a day off, I have clients that that we've worked with in the past that I get them to take Fridays off and go golfing. Okay, now you think, wow, it's like take a day off during the business week and go golfing. And they said, well, I normally golf on the weekends. I said, well, golf on the weekends too, if you wish. That's but Fridays take that day off and go golfing. Well, what ends up happening is the decompression, the release. They're out playing golf. They end up meeting other people on the golf course. Of course, they end up talking about business, and they end up figuring out more ways to make more money.
Yeah, that's that creativity
Right.
kicking in there that you really sometimes have to be away in order to have access to that part of your brain.
Right. Yeah, you have to get out of the environment, and it's into new scenery, into new a new input into your mind. The visual input of a different set of different location, or go into the mountains, or go into the ocean, or going the relaxation of it, the unwinding of it gives you access to more creativity.
And that can only show up as more possibilities for your business and your personal life.
Exactly.
We were talking a little bit in the office yesterday about this, and you mentioned something about how fun occurs differently for different people. And maybe you think that when you go on vacation, you have to do a certain activity or something else, or it won't be a vacation. But talk to me a little bit about how that concept of fun.
Well, it's like with my wife and I, her idea of going on vacation is that we go someplace, and then we take all of these little short trips and travel and sightsee and do all of these different things. It's like on our honeymoon, we were gone for about 2 weeks, or maybe it wasn't quite that long, but and we took a cruise, and I started looking at, so we're here on this day, and then we get to this port, and then we take this tour, and then we're here on this day, and we do and we're traveling at night. And I'm looking at, this was a very tightly, my wife is a very organized lady, and it had a very tightly designed. I said, where is the relaxing, doing nothing, kicking back, resting, sleeping in? She says, on the Thursday of the second week, we have 1 day scheduled for that. Okay. Which, that was my idea of a vacation. My idea of a vacation is, you go someplace to a nice hotel with a nice view, and you stay there with room service, sleep in, get up when you feel like it, maybe go out. If not, sit and watch TV or read a book.
Yeah, no agenda.
No agenda. So you can see we have a different perspective on what having fun is. I want to come back from a vacation relaxed and rested. She comes back exhausted, needs another vacation to rest up from the vacation.
Right.
So,
yeah, we are going back east to take care of some family business this weekend, and we're actually going to be in New York City for a couple of days. And so I was kind of into what Susie does, and we got to go here and here and here. The kids have never been there. We've only got 2 days, so we got to cram this and this and this and this and this in. And my husband, Rob, said, we booked this nice hotel. Let's just plan some downtime there as well.
Right.
So we're going to just have a little bit less of an agenda, and we'll see what we can see, but have some time to rest as well.
Well, I actually got introduced to vacations. I started in business in 1962, and it was around 1981 that I took up fishing. And prior to that, I worked 6 days a week, and I rested on 1 day a week so I could work harder the next 6 days. And I had a friend across the street that owned a business, and we started talking about fishing, and he says, you need to go fishing. And he got me to try it, go out, and I got hooked on fishing. And he later told me, we ended up taking vacations with him and his wife, and me and my wife taking vacations with him. Actually, it was my ex-wife, just in case my wife is listening to the radio show. And we took vacations and went to different hotels in Hawaii and Cabo San Lucas. And my friend's, his wife, her idea, as soon as we'd pay money to go to this beautiful hotel, but as soon as we'd hit the hotel, immediately she wanted to go visit the other hotels. She wanted to go see
what she was missing.
See the other hotels. I'm like, I just want to sit here and relax, enjoy the fresh air, and again go to that unwinding. I'm very much into give yourself the space to unwind, and it will actually lead to more productivity.
Mm-hmm. One of the other, not to switch gears, but I'm going to. one of the other concerns I think a lot of our clients have are, what about my clients?
Mm-hmm.
What if my clients need to get a hold of me? I'm in the middle of a big project with a client. I have a client that has, a lot of things going on. How do I support my clients and take a vacation at the same time?
Again, it goes back to identifying the things that are concerns, the things that are the blocks, the obstacles. I can't go on vacation because I'm of this or because of that. Those become the projects that you address one at a time. You schedule time in your schedule time in your calendar to address that. So I obviously can't be the only one that can take care of this client. If I have, it's who else on staff are we going, can support that client, or how do we get far enough out in front of what we're doing to where the client's needs are met? I mean, we have this perception that everything has to be done today. We could handle next week's problems this week. We could get further out in front of it. It's just shifting your relationship to what's stopping you from being a stop into being a project. If I can call it a project, then I can manage it. It's a different relationship to it. It's how it occurs to you. If it's like, I can't expand my business because I don't have enough money. Okay.
Oh, that's a real common concern we hear about.
Yeah. Well, that becomes like an obstacle that's solid like a rock. I can't do something because. Okay. If you shift your relationship to that, to one of, what's needed to expand my business is $500,000 worth of capital. I may not know how to get that. But it's a different relationship to the obstacle. It's no longer an obstacle, now it's a project. I'm going to be talking to different people about it. If I'm talking about I can't expand because I don't have enough money, I'm most likely going to be talking to people and complaining about it. And they're going to agree with you, yes, the economy's bad, and everybody knows the banks have problems and you can't get money right now, and pretty soon that rock that's standing in your path gets bigger and more glued, cemented to the ground, and it becomes this obstacle that's impossible to move or manage. Therefore, it's obvious that you can't expand. You can't have what it is you want because you've created this rock that's in your way.
And that's a really good time for you to consider using a business coach.
Definitely, because a coach will look at it from a different perspective. It's not a rock, it's a project. We need $500,000. Okay, if we need $500,000, we need to be talking to the kind of people that where handing out $500,000 is not a big problem for them. That's a different kind of category than the person at the supermarket or your brother-in-law complaining about your business. Any problem that you're ever going to resolve is going to be resolved in a conversation with someone.
Interesting.
Problem comes up. You're going to talk to somebody. You're going to find a possibility. You're going to take an action. The problem's going to get resolved and go away. So the question is, who should I be talking to about this problem? If I have a legal problem, I should be talking to an attorney. If I have an accounting problem, I should be talking to my accountant or my CPA.
So, and if your problem is, who are my clients going to talk to while I'm away?
Well, you could talk to them and say, when is your vacation scheduled this year, so I can make sure that we can take care of your business while you're on vacation. My vacation's scheduled for this time slot. Can we actually schedule for you not to have any problems during that week that need a business coach?
Now, what about those clients, and we all have them, that are just a little bit high maintenance, and they want to know if they can have your cell phone number while you're gone, and do you recommend working a little bit while you're away, or taking any of those calls, or how do you handle that?
That's a challenge. That's a good question, and it can be managed. You could schedule some of the time, to be working, but you definitely want to manage that. I mean, I've taken vacations, scheduled the time, traveled to Hawaii, bought a cell phone that would work in Hawaii, and then end up spending my whole vacation on the phone working. Didn't really enjoy any of the vacation. No decompression, no relaxation. Yes, I saw Hawaii that year, but I can't remember what I did other than I made a lot of cold calls or sales calls, on the phone. But so I don't, I recommend that to focus on, set it up. And it's your perspective. It has a lot to do with it. If you believe you can't set it up, you're going to be right. You have to address it from the standpoint of what's it going to take to have this work.
I think a lot of times it helps if you, before you leave, have a three-way conversation with the client and the person that's going to be covering for you.
Mm-hmm.
Make that introduction. If they don't know the rest of your staff or they haven't met that person, set a call up, give them 10 minutes to talk to that person over the phone, get a little bit of a comfort level, make sure that your backup person understands what their issues are, what the projects are that you're working on with that client,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of lay the groundwork so
Right.
that won't be if the client has a need while you're gone, it's not going to be the first time that they've ever met that person that's
Right,
covering
excellent.
for you.
Also, the advantage of working with a coach, I've had many occasions where the owner of the business will say, while I'm going on vacation, I want to have my manager, I want to set up a coaching call with my manager so that you can coach them during that time period. And, if they have a major decision that they need to make, will you be, I'd like you to work with them so you can, having the kind of relationship with your coach to where they can actually, in a sense, step in. They can't make the decisions for you because that's not appropriate for a coach to make the decision, but they can assist in the manager making the decision. The manager is responsible for it, but the coach can help, just like he helps the business owner or she helps the business owner, can assist in making that decision. And particularly if you've worked with the client for a long period of time, then the thinking and where they're coming from and what their objectives are. And again, I like setting up a business so that actually you want to design your business from a standpoint of that you're going to sell it. If you look from that perspective, even if you're just going into business, if you start with the idea that I'm going to build this business up, and at some point I'm going to sell it for X amount of dollars. So I'm starting in business today. I'm going to build it up, and I'm going to sell it in 5 years for $1 million. Okay, that becomes the project. Well, that means that if I'm going to sell it in 5 years for $1 million, it has to be designed to where I could leave and it can run without me. It's the shifting from, having a job versus having a business.
Okay.
If I can't leave and have the business continue to go on, what I have is a job. If I can leave and have the business continue to make money, then I have a business. I have something that I could sell.
That's a great distinction.
Right. Yeah,
That's interesting. Now, what about, I think that the fear in the back of everyone's mind if they're gone is, what if my widget making machine blows up? What if there's a flood? What if the unthinkable kind of happens while you're not there? How do you plan for something like that?
Well, Leanne, you're a great manager. What if what if the widget machine broke while I was gone on vacation? What would you do?
Well, if you were gone on vacation,
Yes.
I'd probably call you and say, Ralph, the widget machine is broken.
And if
What do I do?
if that option wasn't available,
Well, I would probably access our well thought out plan for who do I contact that's responsible for helping me fix the widget machine.
okay.
I would probably try to see if I could get the widget machine fixed or set up some kind of backup, rent another widget machine.
Right, there you go.
I would alert all my clients that there might be a delay in that they're receiving their widgets while we figure out our widget machine problem.
Right.
And I would probably be sending you emails and texts for additional suggestions.
But you can see the answers in. You look at what's possible.
Okay.
You identify, I can rent one. I can postpone delivery on it. It's like step past the first reaction of your mind.
So yeah, how do you get away from that panic?
Well, you just for me, I've trained myself to where I realize the panic's not real. I look at the predictable future. Problem comes up. What's predictable? I don't care what the problem is. Every problem in your life that you've had is in one of three places. You either solved it, or it went away on its own, or you're still working on it.
Okay, you solved it, it went away, or you're still working on it.
You're still working on it. So all problems fit into those three categories. Okay? So what's predictable is you're going to solve it. Okay? And so there's going to be a period of panic, and then you're going to get past the panic, and you're going to start looking at what's possible.
Do you try to schedule that panic into your calendar?
I try to minimize, I'll give myself, okay, I'll be panicked for 15 minutes or 5 minutes.
I love it.
I mean, it's like I use the calendar to drive the thinking. It's like I'm a busy person. It goes back to the foundation of that. It's like you have 100% of the time you have in life left. So you always have exactly 100% of your time left to deal with. And then at some point you'll run out of time, and then they'll do something else with you. But at this point, you're always working with 100% of your time. And everything that you want, having fun, having vacations, having time off, hobbies, spending time with, going to sporting events, seeing the Lakers play, all of those things are going to have to fit into that 100%. And I'm really, the more we talk about this on the radio, it's been really beneficial because I start to see more deeply into the circumstances here. But it's like it's almost like life is a jigsaw puzzle, and you've got all of these pieces, and they have to fit inside the framework of that jigsaw puzzle.
Okay.
It doesn't get any bigger. It's on the table. All the pieces have to fit. And some of us live our life like, here's my hammer, and I'm going to pound this piece in here and make it fit. And it doesn't necessarily work that way. So you got to look at, okay, how do I get all of these different pieces to fit into this picture? And
I think time, as we've
right.
said almost every week, is
right.
one of the key factors. If you can put it in your calendar, get it scheduled in time,
mm-hmm.
then there's more possibilities.
Right.
And I just want to remind our listeners, we haven't mentioned our contest this week. We are having a contest about time management, and you can email me, and my email address is leeann at consulting2win.com. That's Leanne at consulting2win.com. And tell us about 3 ideas you have for your business, how you can better manage time, or how you can make things more productive, whatever it is about time management that you think you might be able to implement in your business. We're going to look at those submissions and select one of them to receive a 2-session healthy business checkup around the beginning of August. So get those submissions in to Leanne at Consulting2Win. Just send us a quick email. We're also always interested in getting topics for the show here. If you have a topic that you'd like us to talk about every Wednesday at 11 o'clock on New Day Talk Radio, you can email those to me as well, and we'll try to address all of your concerns and questions you have about your business.
Yeah. The topic for next week's show is out of a request that was sent in from one of the listeners, and we're going to have Mary Mullenhoff is going to be back on the show with us next week. And the topic is going to be stamp out cold calling.
Oh, that is terrific. That is one of, I think, the biggest fears that people have is cold calling.
Right. Well, we're actually taking the position that if you're making a cold call, you're wasting a dime. So that there should be, no cold calls, ever again in your business career. So you want to listen in on that show to, Mary has some great things. She's an expert at making creating relationships and doing marketing and creating opportunities for sales. And she's worked with some of the biggest companies in the United States in the past. And she's going to be here with me next week while Leanne's on vacation. We have had that all scheduled.
And Mary wrote a great blog about that last
Yes.
week, I think it was.
Right.
So you can check our blog and look at that in advance and get some of Mary's tips on cold calling. And the blog is at consultingtowin.blogspot.com. So that's going to be a great show.
Yes. Well, we'll definitely miss you while you're out vacating, but we'll carry on here and support the listening audience in whatever the topics that they're interested in. So again, we invite you to send your own topics in, any aspect of business or any aspect of fitting it all together in your business world, in your business life world. And like Leanne was mentioning, our blog, we're really committed to giving you a lot of valuable tools for managing your business. Between the blog and the radio shows, which are also archived on newdaytalkradio.com, you can dial in there on the different topics, so that it's really to be a resource for the listeners. And we're in the process of writing a book called The Whole Life Matrix.
Right. And
all of this information will eventually be available in the book, but right now you get it, prior to buying the book, from the radio shows, from the blogs, and we're working together in the staff and myself to really produce a useful resource for business owners to actually be able to refer to different areas and answer questions like how can I fit that in, how can that work, what will best support me in that arena of my business.
Right, because a business coach really can help you create shifts in how you're running your business, and those things, as Ralph mentioned early in the show, that might seem like a fantasy or impossible, or really there are a lot of possibilities there that we can help you look at and start down a different path, maybe, whatever it takes to help you design the future of your business life.
Okay, so I really, it's been a very interesting topic. I do have my vacation schedule later for this year.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yes.
That's not in my calendar yet.
We'll handle that when you come back on vacation.
Okay.
I think the one thing that I do want to include in this conversation about business life is to remind about the aspect of managing your time, of taking things out, deciding what you're not going to do. As you get pressed for time, it's really not how do I shove more into the suitcase and get more to take with me. It's really about how do I take some things out. I'm going to leave this outfit behind. I'm going to leave, I'm going to leave this extra pair of shoes behind.
My husband and I are going to be having that conversation later this evening.
Right. So it's the same thing in managing your time. It's really about how do you make that happen. So
yeah, and I think people feel that it's not okay to drop something out.
Right.
They have that, like you're saying, that they've got to pound that into the puzzle. And
Right.
that's where we really try to work with people to help them understand that there's just some things that it's okay to not be doing.
Right. Yeah. So one of the things you do want to be doing is scheduling to listen to our show next week. You do want to be sending us an email at Leanne at consulting2win.com. Ask us any questions. You definitely want to get into our contest, because this is a $500 value to have two conversations with our staff on the evaluating the healthy business checkup. So it's really something that we want you to to participate in that drawing. So, Leanne, I want to wish you a great vacation. Have a wonderful time.
Thank you very much. I'll be thinking about you, but
Okay.
I won't be emailing you.
That's fine. You have a great vacation, and we'll carry on here. And like I said, the topic for next week is stamp out cold calling. Thank you.
Welcome. You're listening to New Day Talk Radio, where every day is a new day.